Okay, maybe can we start, or I think Rupali has to join, right?
Rupali should join. Yeah, Rupali
Okay,
should
okay.
join in a minute.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, hi, Rupali. Good morning. Okay, maybe we can start. I think Rupali, I think I haven't had a discussion with you. I spoke with Saili last time. I can understand like what she brings into the table. Maybe if you could explain your expertise and what's your expectations and all those things, so that it would be helpful for me going forward.
Yeah, okay. For me, I have a like technical background. Okay, I worked in SAP BW and at BPC also I worked for 1.5 years. So most of my experience is in SAP BW. Okay,
Okay.
and BPC I have 1.5 years of experience.
Got it, got it. And did you
Yeah.
guys, both of you, like, have you uh, done anything on SAC kind of prototype or any kind of data exploration or something like that, or this is the first time you're looking into SAC?
Udemy some training I did, but not a complete one. That was long time back.
Okay,
But prototype and all I haven't built. But Siley, you know.
I think you're on mute, Sally.
Siley.
I think we can't hear you, Sally.
Hi, Varun.
Yeah, hello. Mhm.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I think you're good. Yeah.
Okay. I also have not done prototype, but only did that base a trial training what we have on SAP website, right? 60 days trial.
Oh, okay. You have. Okay.
Some
Got it. Got it.
slightly, I not really very, but building model, very basic things I did into that thing, free access.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Let me start regarding the sessions. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you don't have to worry about the course duration here, because usually I used to teach the people who are from complete not from non SAP background. I used to teach them from scratch, including all the theoretical and all those stuff. So it won't take that much time for us. But the for planning, maybe we can have a different slide. This is usually I used to give training to the people who are from non-SAP background. I used to cover all these concepts, but so my intention is I don't want to take all the PPTs and get into theories and all those stuff. It's better to get into the tool, because this tool is like you need to explore all the options, and then you need to practice these concepts instead of going to PPTs and all those stuff. So this is the concepts which I'm going to cover. uh, in SAC planning, it's a different slide. Maybe I can show you that slide once we start the planning, but we're going to cover data models and stories designing, and Okay, planning we can leave it for now because we are going to cover advanced planning. This is kind of a just basic planning which usually I will teach during the SAC stuff, but planning we can go ahead with a different slide, and we can go ahead with augmented analytics and the roles, security, admin, and all those stuff. And in the stories we have one more thing called analytical applications, which requires JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Uh, probably I can just give you the introduction what we can do with analytical application, but it's a kind of bit tricky and it gonna take a lot of time. Maybe that's the kind of advanced course, but I can show you what we can do with this basic stuff, and maybe you can explore if you need anything, if you want to implement something in analytical application. If you're interested in coding, we can have a separate course for that. And yeah, if and the digital boardroom also generally people don't use in industry, but if you still would like to cover, we can cover that thing. But my main intention, as Sairi, like last time what we spoke, is like to understand the data model stories, and the main goal is to understand the planning. But before entering into planning, it's better to know the think. Someone can mute. Okay, so it's better to know all these features, what SAC brings into the table with respect to stories, with respect to augmented analytics, and all those stuff. And okay, any questions
Uh,
or any expectations from your side?
go into details of those basics things. But we would, if it would be great if you share those PDFs because we are parallelly planning for certifications also, right? So there in this material would be required for us.
Okay, so you guys, there are two certifications, right? So there is specific to planning certification. There also come again one more certification with SAC. So what you guys are planning?
What I need your help actually. Previously, while I browse on SAP catalog, I was able to see the certification which is specific for planning.
Correct.
But now, whenever I'm searching, so the certification that we are getting, that is only SAP Analytics Cloud. I am nowhere getting the choice to get. So previously, even if you just type that SSC for planning, the certification was easily coming. But it was saying that it is somewhere discontinued between somewhere around 2023. That is what it was saying.
Okay, maybe even I haven't checked. Probably that is a combination of both. I will check and I'll get back to you on this thing. Uh,
24 2024.15 version is there.
yeah, yeah,
uh, so it has those. If you while I went through the content, it is analytics cloud content is also there and planning content, so you see the stories and everything there. But there is a single certification as of today's, that is what I noticed. So if you could help us in enrolling also, because that is what I could not find, so I didn't we did not enroll that time.
yeah. Sure, sure. Definitely, I can do that. I think once we complete the course, the
Mhm.
final thing would be the project which I'm going to cover, and then once that is done, maybe I can show you the certification thing as well. Yeah.
Yeah. For the project thing, I have a one suggestion. Actually, I have some data of some dummy data of some planning project. So that is what if we could have to convert into SSC project. So would you be able to help me with that? How we do so that we understand the process thoroughly?
Yeah, so the project, yeah, we can do that thing as well. But the project, what I am thinking is that,
So, what's so BPC output I know right there. So that comparability. So we would be able to do okay what we want to achieve from SSC. That is what we will know. So that otherwise your project also will do. So that is what I we want. So that we thoroughly understand the implementation method here.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, you can, once we complete all the course, you can share the data, the sample data, and we can see how
Mhm.
can we cover on that topic as well. No worries. Yeah. Okay. And before moving out to the introduction section, so do you guys have access already, or do you want to get it now? That trial access.
Mine 60 days would have is expired, I think. So I would have to create a new email ID another time.
Okay.
So you were saying that credit card process, right? So we can, so that is what you help me with. Then in that case, I can renew. But my 60 days expired already.
Okay, yeah, that thing I gonna explain once we start the planning, because here we don't require that license. So you guys already have the credit card, right? Where you can give your credit card
Yeah.
details. Okay, okay. Usually it won't charge you. I think I spoke with Sahili last time. Until unless if you use their resources to schedule some data actions or something like that. But apart from that, there could be some maintenance charges as well. Maybe you can switch off, you can delete your account once we complete the course if you're worried about deduction and all those stuff. But yeah, apart from that, there wouldn't be any cost cutting on the credit card. Okay,
Okay.
let's start with the basics of SAP Analytics Cloud. Maybe I think this is what you're going to see the screen once you log into SAC, and then the main thing.
Not the tracking screen, right? This is a different screen.
Come
Our
again?
basic tracking screen. Yeah.
Sorry, come again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like it is the same that what if SAP trial access, that is what this is, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct, correct. This is the trial access. Even though if you're getting those special access or credit card access, the only difference you can see is like you'll see some more options under security, the data
Yeah,
request.
correct.
You'll see more options for the planning, basically. That
Yeah.
is what. And also one more thing, you won't see. Okay, there is one more thing called business content, where you can get I think since you worked on SAP BW, probably you have this predefined SAP delivered content, right, where you will activate all the objects there, and that's what
Mm.
you do, right? Similarly, we will have something like that in SAC, kind of business content, where you just need to create the connections and just activate those connections to the existing content, so that you don't have to create everything from scratch, like data model, stories, and data allocation. Everything has been pre-built. For suppose if it is S4 HANA, you just need to create a connection and you need to map that connection to the business content. So those kind of things you will see. But apart from for story creation and all, I think this is more than enough for the planning and some other content. Yes, that's the only difference. Apart from that, the view and all, it's the same. Okay. So here mainly need to
Hello,
yeah,
am
yeah,
I audible?
yeah, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so the business content, like the standard objects delivered by SAP, you're talking right about this
Yes.
business content.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, so that this option would we would require it for doing planning and all. With this access, will we be able to do this planning and
No,
all?
no, no. This thing is just for stories. For planning, we need to get that access. Which
Access from.
which I'm talking about, that credit card, right?
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
got it.
yeah. That is what you need to get. But this is just if you want to explore about the data model stories. We do.
Mm.
I think this is the best for trial version. We do have everything if you want to create stories and data model. But if you want to go for planning, this trial won't suit us. We need to go ahead with that credit card option. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, and this is what you need to understand first, the file. So this is once you log into SAC, or you will see, you get to know this type where you will store all your data, like stories, data actions, models, and everything. And you can create, so generally you can create your usually the companies have one public folder. They don't want to have, this is since this trial version you can see all these things, but generally there are two different ways. First thing is like in the they maintain this is the common folder, the public folder. In general, in industry they maintain only the one public folder. Inside those public folder, I think they create the different folders for, let's say, for finance, HR, and everything, and they maintain the folder level access. I think if you go back here, okay, let's say for this thing, right? Since once you click on share option, So here you can add your users or whatever you active directory groups or something like that. So the teams is one which have been, they have been introduced recently. I mean, not recently, but it's been a year. So teams is basically kind of what is a group where you can add multiple people into one team, and you can just add the team here, so that a bunch of people can see that specific folder or the report or whatever it is. And here you can give the different set of access, the view, edit, and full control. And you can always go for custom as well. You can uh, do the custom access, where if you want to, instead of giving full control, and you can just give delete only one thing. You don't want to give access user to delete the comment. You can just always come back here and check or uncheck the boxes. So this is what the sharing and
Uh, One
collaboration.
thing, here if I have to give the data access, how, like this is team, so this team I want to give access to particular region. So where we define that thing,
Sorry, come again. What's that?
the data access for this profile, where do we define that one?
The data access, okay, that is different. So this is, I'm talking about specific.
So here we create only user and team, and access we will again define separately.
Correct, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This is what I think. Here you don't see this thing, or yeah. There will be one more thing called users here, roles and everything will create over there. Once that is done, you can see the teams and everything. Once that is done, then you're gonna come back and here give the access to specific. This is, in this case, it's a model, but you can also give the folder level. Since we haven't created this folder, that's what this icon is blurred. But if you create, if you are the owner of the folder, or if you are the admin, you can see this shade button, so there you can give the access. Yeah.
Okay. So roles, can you go to the roles also here?
Hmm.
We went to the team roles.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, here you don't see this a trial access, but we'll get to know that once we get to here. But here you can get a different access here. Usually they're kind of three roles, like BA admin, BA content creator, and BA content viewer. And remaining everything is like specific to, I mean, the custom roles. This
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Is it possible for you to give us a training where you have a full-fledged access instead of this limited access?
Yeah, definitely. That is what which we are going to cover in the next session. This is just for the stories and all those stuff. I think next week, I think maybe we can start tomorrow as well, where we can get the access to the credit card, and then we will get the full access. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, this is I just today is just introduction section, so I thought like maybe I can just show all the futures of the stories, and then we can switch back to planning session for sure. Yeah. Anyhow, in the planning we are going to cover the security part as well, so that's no worries. Yeah.
So security, do we have to define two times, like planning separately and for stories, or it is one time
No, no,
and
no,
you
it's separately. Planning is separate and stories is separate. Yeah.
and so do we have to create a connector also in between the planning and the stories? Is it like that?
What do you mean by connector?
So I mean, it will be on the one and the same model, right? So the stories would not be part of the same planning model. Is it the case?
Okay, so planning security, what I'm talking about, for suppose, let's say Asia specific region has to plan only specific people, and if it is EMEA, we have to plan only for specific people. That is a different planning. But if it is stories, I think if you want to give access to the stories to the specific people and all the stories is different and planning is different. Yeah,
Stories is ideally only the graphical presentation of the planning data, right?
correct, correct, exactly. Yeah. So
So the base data it is going to get from the planning model itself, right?
no, no, that is different. A planning model is different. Stories is different.
No,
S-
but what is the source to get the data for stories then?
You can always integrate both stories and planning into one component. But yeah, I mean, if for suppose the question
Okay,
what you're
I'll make it simpler. Suppose if I'm using the Power BI dashboard option, right? So I get a two option. Either you import from the Excel workbook, or it gives you option that you connect to any database. Okay, so
Mhm.
whether it is SAP, non-SAP, Oracle, whatever it is, and then you build the dashboard. So this is how it works. So how is the stories connected there? Because now this being a totally SAP tool, so is this not automatically connecting to the planning database?
No, yeah, there are different ways which I'm going to walk through that thing. First, SAC stories. If you want to create any story, the data
Hmm?
model is mandatory. We need to create a data model. The data
Yeah.
model could be the source, could be anything. It could be from even the Excel file which you are going to work now, or it could be from
Hmm.
SAP DataSphere, or it could be from SAP BW or SAP HANA. We have different variety of sources. I think once we
Hmm.
create that data model, and top of that data model, we create a stories. Yeah, it could be two different, what you mentioned, right? In Power BI, we
Mhm.
do have the import and live connection. So here also
Hmm.
we have the similar way, kind of import and live connection as well. Yeah, maybe let me show
Okay.
you how we can create. If you go to modeler here, okay, if you see the model here, so you can create your new model, and there are different things. I think public dimension tables and conversions. A public dimension table is like kind of uh, global level dimension table. Let's say if you want to create the cost center and then maybe company code, so those dimensions will be useful for multiple stories, right? So a kind of reusability. You can create one public dimension table, and anyone can use the dimension table into their stories. So that's what we use, the public dimension table. And this is for the currency conversion table. And I think you can also import, you can table from the SAP BPC as well in this case. And point of interest is something for the geo enriched data, where you can create your map. Uh, and let's say model, right? So let's bring some model and create a story. You'll get to know like how, what's the like. So first, for in order to create any story, the model is mandatory. Without model, I think you can't create it, any story. I mean, we can create a story directly from by using, if you want to demo any user or something like that. I think SAP has given option to create a story directly from Excel file, but in general in industry we don't use that option. We always try to create a model and do some transformations, and then we create a story on top of it. So in this case, if you could click on model, so there are two options. One which start with the data and start with an empty model. Usually, in my case, I always go with the start with empty model, especially for the planning, where we create all the dimensions, measures, and then everything. Because in planning, we need to set up some hierarchies, and we need to set up some account types and all those stuff. You always go with the start with an empty model for the planning. But just in case, just for the start basis, we can just use the start with the data, because we do have some sample data which I'm going to show. We can, for now, we can go ahead with the start with data. Once you click on next button, so you can hear which I'm talking about side, like you are asking like what is the source. So he can select the different sources here. Currently it's grayed out because it's a trial version, but we can see all these options like SAP Cloud, SAP HANA, SAP S4 HANA, and everything.
Actually, my question, right? Okay, so in earlier screen, as you saw the BPC planning option, wherein you would have already done the planning. So now, if I'm using SAC for planning, so it is one and the single access for planning and dashboard, right? Stories, right? So will it? So I have to connect from here. I have to select SAC, the planning model, and then connect. Is it the case?
Yes, correct. But depends upon, you're saying that SAP BPC is one end model for stories and planning. Ideally, it won't be, because sometimes in stories we need to have the more detailed level of data, right? Because in SAP
Correct.
B, yeah, in
See, in the current case, BPC could be sourced, but when BPC goes away, it is only SSC is going to stay,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
is true. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's bring some data from Excel and then maybe let's select here. So once you click on the same way, if you're trying to bring the data from SAP S4 HANA, but before bringing, okay, let me show you one more thing. Mm, okay, while it's loading, okay, let me cancel. I need to show one more thing. So if you want to connect to SAP S4 HANA or SAP BW anything, first you need to go back to the connections. You need to create a connection by using your credentials and all those stuff. Okay, it's loading. If you go back to this connection, let me discard. We can do one more thing. Yeah, here what you need to create a connection. If you want to bring the data from SAP BW or SAP HANA or even SAP data sphere, you need to create a connection here. After creating connection only, you should be able to connect to the data model there. Once you select the let's say in the data model. Okay. Okay, if you once you click on SAP BW for HANA, uh, okay, here since we don't have access, trial access, but once you click on SAP for SAP BW for HANA or something like that, since you already created a connection, it's gonna ask you what type of connection you would like to use. Once you select that particular connection, it will so that you can select the table and whatever you want to have. Okay, so let me select one more time this Excel file. Okay. Uh, this is what, so it gonna show all the details here. What me so you can see here, if you want to have the planning capabilities, generally if you're creating a planning model, this is what you need to switch on the button. If you don't want planning model, and you can switch off this uh, icon here. Yeah.
So if we switch on, if there is a future data, so we don't have to recreate the dimensions and kind of a thing, is it?
Exactly, you're right. Yep, that's what it is. And if you want to create your new, so we do have the measures already, so it's a kind of, so you guys know, I think probably dimensions and measures, right? Since you already worked on SAP BW, what exactly it is the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so so this is what the structure automatically based on the data types. SAC gonna segregate between the measures and dimensions. And then if you want to create a new measure or something like that, you can always come back here and just click on add measure here. And we have different functions here. uh, you can always select your aggregation type and everything. And if you want to have any define any default currencies, for suppose if all your data is kind of a fixed, if it is US dollars, you can always mention here. And this is what the model it is. If you're selecting for suppose if you create any public dimension or something like that, right, you can always come back here and just click on add dimension. And you can select here, you can see here add existing dimension table. And if you can select here, there are different types of dimensions like generic, account, organizational. I think that comes under planning, which I'm maybe which once the planning start, I can explain, because that is mostly we're gonna use for the planning, account dimension and all those stuff. Okay, so once you click on add dimension table, so if you create any public dimension table, you can select from here. So that's what, like, public dimension is a kind of reusability. If you are using that particular dimension for multiple models, it's better to create a public dimension so that everyone can use the dimension instead of recreating from scratch. Okay, and there is one more thing, it's very important. Okay, let me save this model. You will get to know. Okay, so click on save. Let me create in public for now. Okay, there is one more thing. I think previously you can see it is disabled. It gonna enable once you click on the save. I think this is very important in terms of the data loading purpose, both in planning and stories. So if you click on data management here, uh, okay, you can see here there is kind of import jobs and upload jobs and export jobs. So import jobs, for suppose, so right now you just created kind of a snapshot of data, right? And if you want to get the latest and greatest data, every time you can schedule this import jobs. So this is where, for suppose in my case it's an Excel, but if it is SAP BW or SAP HANA or something like that, you can just use that thing. But in my case, just get the data, because I need to select the source. Okay, yeah, so I'm already there, but
Can you just show once with SAP BW what all prompts we get?
in this case we don't have, even though if you get the full access SAP BW, we can't connect because we need to set up that thing, right? It won't show now.
No, but that is what Ruchika was mentioning. She has got one special server wherein it is already connected to S/4HANA server actually.
Oh, is it? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I need to check with her then. Yeah.
if you remember in the first call we were discussing, right? She was asking that do you need that access? Yeah,
Okay, okay. Yeah, I will talk to her then. Next call.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. And if you click on this thing, okay, okay, this is where you map the data. If you click on set import, no matter what is an Excel file or BW, whatever it is, for suppose in BW, we'll get all the backstories here. Since the data has already been set up, which I showed earlier in the model structure, the model is there, but you would like to schedule this model because you need to get the latest data, right? So this is where you need to get the data, and if you go to setup import, here your map your data source to your model, all the columns. It's very slow today. very fresh. Usually Saturday and Sunday, I guess. Probably sometimes they do maintenance activities as well. Uh, it gonna be slow sometimes. Let me close it and reopen. Uh, I think probably they're doing some maintenance activities since that's what even I experienced this issue when I used to give training, especially Saturdays and Sundays. Usually it happened in the evenings, but yeah, today I'm not sure. Uh,
So if we want to continue going forward, how what should be the work around that?
yeah, generally Saturdays, Sundays, it's common, but it won't take much time. It's like 15 minutes or something like that. It's happened, even though if you take the server access or whatever access, I think it's a common in weekends.
But they'll intimate na in case of server access if it's a downtime.
I think server is maintained by even I mean talking about the third party, talking to the third.
Yeah, third party server, yeah, because they'll keep us more posted, right? If in case they are doing any maintenance.
Generally, every Saturday and Sunday it will be the maintenance for sure. Yeah.
No, the one access which we're talking about that they're charging 6,000 to us, right? Shell on filing. So that one, I think they will intimate us. There wouldn't be downtime because they know our requirement, right? We know want it on Saturday. Like,
Yeah, yeah, correct. I mean, they're gonna intimate us, but usually it would be on Saturdays, Sundays only. It won't take much time, but yeah, they're gonna intimate for sure. Yeah. So, what's the source, Saila? Like, what's the requirement? Since you mentioned last time that they're going to start a project migration of SAP BPC to SAC. So that
So I have a client who's going to right now they are using SAP BPC 10.1. So they are doing greenfield implementation of SAP. So they'll be going to be SSC, but they would be migrating all BPC data to SSC, the all the historical data for the planning perspective
so
because they need some 5 3 years 5 years planning data for comparison. So
So usually how, because in some cases, right, the people maintain both the systems. They're gonna go with a hybrid option. Kind of they do have all the planning data and everything there, and then they bring that planning model into SAC, and they're gonna enter all the forecast numbers and everything in SAC. That's what they do in some cases. In some people, they would like to remove
correct.
complete.
That is what they do going forward. Once the implementation is successful, going forward they'll do everything into SSC itself.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Got it. So what planning is, I mean, what kind of planning they have done in BPC? Like it's what's the
All these revenue planning, OPEX planning, PLB, profit loss balance sheet planning, and to some extent manpower planning.
oh, okay, okay. Got it.
And they get this actual because BPC anyway supports both planning and actual in the single system. So they do this variance analysis stuff also from the BPC. So that is what also would be required from SEC later on.
Correct, correct. So in this case, you would like to get data directly from SAP BPC and then
Correct. That is what actually I spoke to Richie last time that okay, getting from Excel I know because that is pretty similar mechanism as Power BI, but I specifically want to see how it happens when you have a source as SAP because majority of the clients are going to do this on the what do you say, SAP system being connected, and that is what is the lacking in this trial server, that we are not able to directly connect to the SAP.
Exactly. I think SAP DataSphere it's easy trial, but I think for you, I think it's better to have SAP BPC as well as SAP S4 HANA because.
Correct. So
Mhm.
he mentioned there's some US client of yours who would so she has in the previous training batch whatever it was done for IBM, therein they managed this getting this server, and all the training was done on that that server.
Exactly, exactly. That is there. But I think
Mm.
looks like this time I'm not sure. Maybe I need to check with her. She told that currently uh, they haven't extended uh, that what is a partnership with them, I guess. But I need to talk to her on this thing. Maybe in
Yeah,
that group, can we add her as well?
sure, I
So
get her
that
added. That I primarily need, because that is what this is okay. This SEC planning, this 60 days access, even if you create a new Gmail ID, we can get this. But that is not a full-fledged one. That is what I've already noticed it.
correct. Even though what I mentioned previously, right? Even though we get this credit card access, I think that is specific to SAP. Yeah, planning and everything you will get it. But if you want to connect
But
to SAP BPC,
what happens is that when you get that full server access, we will be able to build a planning model, as well as we will get all the features for the stories also, right? So that is what we thought of having that access.
yeah, yeah, we can get that access. But even though if you get that access, what you're talking about connecting to BPC and S4, and I think that is not possible. Because since you would require that access, maybe we need to talk to her as well.
Server will have, right? BPC. I'm not sure if that client, if that server, but that is what she mentioned. We may double check with her. That is already having S4 HANA connection. That is what Ruchika mentioned earlier.
We're talking about the server, the third party server.
Ha,
Yeah,
third
yeah,
party
third
server.
party
She
server. Yes, yes, we do have. I'm talking about the
to
access
S.
which you're going
Ha,
to get for credit card, right? For that
ha.
thing, yes, SAC will get the full access, but the systems you won't get access, like BPC and all those stuff. I think that thing we need to get.
Is that if in case I want to test it, okay, how does thing BW to SSC, how is data going, so that we would not be able to check otherwise, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's what we need to get the server access. Maybe once this is done, can you just add her and just
Yeah.
text in that WhatsApp? She will also get to know the actual requirement, and then I will give a call to her later on today. Oh, still it is.
Do you have the PPTs? Otherwise, till the time we can go through the PPT.
Yeah, generally like PPT, I don't maintain. I always try to give what do you say, like theory, practical thing, because these things, right, tools, PPT is like again theory which you can find in Google as well. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wish I don't do
So
that thing.
we don't have any training material because generally we would require this training material,
Yeah, yeah,
PPT
we
and
do
everything.
have all the PPTs and the documents, even the dumps for certification, everything I do have. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about is like in training, usually like I don't.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, but we would require it, Varun, because we are planning for the certification, so we
sure,
need some
sure,
material to do it also, no?
sure, sure. I do
And
have.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So please share that.
Sure, sure. Definitely, I do have all the documents related to certification as well. I can share that thing. Yep, definitely. Yeah, I do have that in a separate system. Currently, I don't have, but I can share that thing in email once.
So that is not with this Ruchikan team. They don't provide this material.
No,
Like,
no,
why is it like?
I do create some PPTs and everything. Ruchika team don't.
No, no, but they are not providing any materials or anything for you because generally it is like this training institute's responsibility, not to have all the authentic material in place for the. Just a question out of
Yeah,
curiosity.
I'm generally I'm a freelancer. Like I used to give trainings for a lot of corporate and in outside training. So I do maintain mine. So they have asked me like if they require anything. I'm not sure. I haven't checked with them, but because I do have already a lot of materials
So you
and
can share
PPTs.
ideas with us. So do you want us to share our email IDs so that either via Drive or anything you can share us otherwise?
Yes, yes, yeah. You can share in the email, right? I mean, the WhatsApp chat. If you could share your email where you
Mm.
would like to share, I can share that thing. No worries. Okay, I think
Okay.
it opened. Okay, let me go to modeler. Okay, let me go to data management. This is Saila, like since you mentioned the BPC also, right? So it's the same way. First we create a model, get the model from the BPC. Let's say you have already a BPC models, planning model. Instead of, let's say, instead of an
Mm-hmm.
Excel file, you select the BPC file and get it from there. And if since you would and you would like to refresh your data, right, on daily basis to get the latest data, so this is where you need to go to the data management tab under workspace, and you need to click on setup import, and you need to map the data from your BPC model and then the data model inside SAC. That is where the mapping comes up to the source system to the SAC.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, here you can see the data, right? What we bought it here. Here you can prepare your data. You can do all the transformations and everything. For suppose if you click on here and you would like to change your data types to, let's say, in this case, okay, it's a string only, but okay, that's fine. You can change your data types to different date or integer or something like that, and you can check your uh, data distribution, and then you can check your stats, and you can do the validation as well, whether it is if you're having any issues with the data, it gonna show under validation here. And this is kind of a basic transformation. If you want to create any formulas or something like that, there is a kind of custom, yeah, this is where you can create a formulas. If you click on sorry, yeah, if you click on control and space bar, it gonna give you this intelligence where you can select different kind of formulas here, and you can just create one formula. This is the advanced editor where we create all the formulas and all, and we have one more options here to if you want to split the data based on, let's say, in this case the delimiter is hyphen, and if you want to split the data based on these things, and if you want to do change, and if you want to create a transform step, I think this is going to open the advanced editor which I showed earlier. So these are the basic steps what we have here. And once everything is, if you feel like everything is okay, just click on next button. And this is what I'm talking about, the data mapping. For suppose, let's say the left side is like data coming from BPC, and the target is the one. Okay, let me remove, I think everything is mapped, but let me remove a few of the things. Okay, let's say the right side thing, the target is the data model what you have created in SAC. So this is the integration between your source system, and the target is like SAP model. The target, the source could be anything, BW, BPC, or SAP HANA and all. It's gonna show all the columns here, and you need to map, right? And sometimes if you want to set your default values, you can always set back here default values. But it's always if you don't map the right columns, and thing, that is where the data ambiguity comes up. So this is very important. If if you are mapping to the wrong field or something like that, you will see the data issues in your stories. So you need to understand the business logic as well, because sometimes especially when you are bringing the data from SAP has for HANA or anything, there could be multiple columns with the same name or something like that. You need to identify the right column and the right granularity as well. What grain you are bringing it from the source system. You need to understand the business logics and get the right data here and then map it. Once you click on next button, in this case, you can see here, in this case, it's a public dot actual, which we're going to understand in the future planning training. But if you are loading a forecast data, it could be public dot forecast or something like that. But by default, always SAP, since you had the checkbox planning capabilities, so by default that's what it is showing, planning public dot actual. By default all the data will move to the actuals, public dot actuals. Yeah, I think if you're having any issues or something, that it gonna show here. And click on run import. Okay, this is the settings. If you go back here, for suppose this is also very important and one of the certification question as well. So if you want to import, if you want to update the data or append the data, or this is the options we have, you need to select. Sometimes you just need to append the data, or sometimes you just need to update, override everything whatever you have. And then you have different options: clean and replace subset of data, clean and replace selected version. Version again comes for the planning, which we're going to learn the planning session. But usually we always go for the update option in general, and then click on finish. Okay, if we are having any issues or anything, you will get some warning button or something like that. And so this, so now what we have done, we have mapped the source data, let's and then target data. Source could be like any BW, let's say, or the target could be your SAC model. You have connected those two source and target. And then currently is disabled, but you can schedule this thing. Let's say you would like to run daily morning India time on 9 a.m. You can select the schedule and then you can run the data. That's how it will work. And there is one more, if you want to edit this thing as well, if you want to replace the data source, right? For suppose you might feel like, let's say this is you just connected to quality data source, quality BPC system, and you would like to replace to the production, right? For the production stories and all those stuff, you can always come back here and replace your data source to the production systems. And there is one more thing, which export jobs, right? So this is what I think in BPC also it would be helpful, right? For suppose you are bringing the data from BPC, and you would like to, let's say the users has entered all the plan numbers and do all the changes and everything, right? And you would like to export that job to your BPC planning table or planning model, right? This is where the export jobs comes up. You can select your table or planning model where you would like to update that the numbers entered in SAC back to your SAP BPC table. So you can schedule this export job, so that the on daily basis or something like that, the data whatever we have in SAC models, it gonna export back to your SAP BPC tables or plan models. So yeah, these two are very important: import jobs and export jobs. And upload jobs is again, if you want to upload this file somewhere in, let's say, shared drive or Google Drive or something like that, right? That is where the upload jobs comes up. But I think most in real time we always use this import jobs. And export jobs, if you want to send your data back to SAP S4 HANA or SAP BPC or something like that. Generally, in most of the thing, the data gonna export in as what we worked on. The data gonna export back to either in SAP S4 HANA or SAP BPC. In SAP S4 HANA, we do have a table called AC Docker P, where we contains all the planning table, and then we can export the data back to there. In BPC again, we can send the data back to tables or models. Yeah. Yeah, I think once everything is done, there is one more thing called calculations. uh, if you want to create any calculations and everything, there are different kind of calculations we have inside. Let me show you. You can create your own custom calculations here. Let me create. Here you can always again create some currency conversion measure as well. Since we haven't enabled the currency conversion, it's not showing, but once you have the currency conversion, anyhow we are going to cover that thing in planning. That's fine. And if you click on calculated measure over here, yep, you can click on control and thing. There are different types of measures here. If you want to create a white, I mean, this is pretty much self-explanatory. I think if you click, if you just select everything on, you can see the it gonna open up some pop-up box. You can see what exactly it is. The lookup is something, if you a kind of Excel lookup, right? What, for suppose in this case, the lookup it is showing, we are get, if we would like to get the net revenue for the product shoes, and the lookup, the city is basically, if you want to ignore the dimension, which means if you can ignore that granularity, you don't want to net revenue group by city, you would like to remove that. If you want to remove that grain into your data, you can select your that ignore dimension. Usually we don't do that, but we always use this lookup value, and then uh, w- which some kind of filter. In this case it's a shoes, but yeah, restrict is again the same thing. Re- this result lookup, I think we are going to cover in planning, which we have. Yeah, you can create all these formulas here, which is if you want to, I think the good part is, like, instead of creating this YTD calculation from scratch, they have given this by default. You just need to select your date, whatever date you have in the date table, right? You just need to select that date, and then measure what kind of measure you would like to calculate, the year to date, month to date, and everything. Yeah, once you create everything, all the calculations here, and then, okay, let me remove this thing.
So what is this SMA in that? SMA actually that is in my correct, was it also SMA balance confirmation? So what is this SMA in the option?
Wait
Like
a minute.
year to date, month to date, that is fine, but this SMA option we are getting, no?
uh, where it is.
Just
Oh, this
scroll
one.
up. SMA, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah, yeah.
think it's a simple moving average formula. Yeah, if you want to get your 2 years moving average or last 3 months moving average, something like that. Yeah, and there is one more thing called iterate. Iterate is basically kind of a loop, something like that. Yeah, and there are one, I think there is one more thing. Yeah, this is also planning function, which we're going to cover. There is one more couple of formulas for planning. Let me show you, which is the grand total, is again to get the total of your sales and everything, which I think this is YTD MTD grand total is I think that is very important, especially instead of creating some complex formulas, because YTD MTD QTD and those are, everything is important in the stories. You can create your KPI bars, and you can just get these formulas showcase over there. Okay, let me delete this thing. Okay, this is again, if you want to, okay, let me show the data. If you click on view here, it gonna show the sample data. This is again one of the interview question as well. If you want to delete the data, there is an option called delete facts. If you want to delete some data or some rows here, you can always select whatever you want and just click on delete facts. And this is data locking is again a concept of planning here. Yeah. Okay, let me go to the model preferences. Meanwhile, it's taking time again. Okay. Okay, you can see here the model type is planning because we switched on that planning capabilities, right? That is what it is showing the planning as like planning model, or else there is another model called analytical model. If you don't select the planning, it's gonna show as a analytical model. And then this is what the planning area, if you want to use this data access control and model privacy, if you're using planning, you can check this box. And based on data locking as well, I think these two we need to check this box, especially if you're using planning, but for now that's fine. uh, and this is very important in terms of data auditing and all, especially for the uh, planning kind of a thing. If you switch on this data audit, I think it gonna store all the changes. Or suppose the users might enter uh, in the planning, right? They're gonna enter a lot of numbers and they're gonna change it, and some user enter the forecast numbers from epac, and some users enter forecast numbers from emea. So in order to track all those changes, you need to enter switch on this button as well for data auditing thing. And one more thing important is that,
So default is for all the dimensions.
sorry, come again. Hello, your voice is breaking.
That data audit default it gets enabled for. Hello. Yeah, are you able to hear now?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So default this enables for all the dimensions, or we have to select that for which dimensions we want to enable data audit.
No, ideally it would be enable for all the dimensions. Yeah, not for everything. Whatever the planning activities, right? The user's gonna do. Let's say you created
Okay.
let's say you created one table in the story, and then you have given option to end user to enter all the forecast numbers and the budget numbers and everything. The different users might do
Mhm.
different activities. Sometimes they delete the numbers as well, right? It's very important to track all those changes for the future point of view. So yeah, it gonna enable for everything. Yep. And one more important thing is like the currency conversion.
Mhm.
So in this case it's disabled, but for suppose if you want to do your
Mhm.
currency conversion, you need to switch on this icon, and you need to select the table. You can always select the currency conversion table either from SAP BPC or from SAP
Okay.
BW. We have this sticker table, right? You can select there, or else you can create your own currency conversion table within SAC as
Mm.
well. So here, once you click on, since you switched on, you will get an option now to select the
Okay.
table. So there you need to select the table and
Okay.
then,
And in conversion,
sorry, your voice is breaking actually. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, uh, is SSC supporting the multi-currency conversion?
Yes, yes, yeah, it will. Of course, that is very.
Like I'll give you example in BPC, you the currency convert. So if currency like group currency is say USD, so you are able to convert only into one currency USD. You cannot convert into two currency. That is what is a limitation of BPC, right? That you cannot do multi-currency conversion.
Yeah, here we can do it. We need to maintain that currency. Let's say you have a two currencies. One is
Can we? Are we going to cover this? How currency conversion?
yeah, yeah. We are going to cover in the planning session. We can create our own currency conversion table
Okay.
inside.
Are we going to cover this currency conversion process completely?
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah, we will. You can see here uh, the currency table here. This is where you need to select the table. You can bring it from SAP BPC as well, or you can bring it from SAP S4 HANA or BW, whatever it is, or you can create your own currency conversion table. I think if you can remember in the modular, you can see currency conversion over there, right? So there you can create the currency conversion table, and if you create the currency conversion table, it's going to show up here. You need to select the currency conversion table and everything, and then uh, yeah, that's where the currency conversion happens in the model. But yeah, in detail we can cover it from scratch in the planning, because in the planning it's very important, because some planners might be do plan the numbers based on USD, and some people do the planning in INR and everything, right? We need to consolidate everything into common currency. I think that is very important. We're gonna cover that topic
Correct.
as well.
That is the reason what happens is you every time create a new model and then only you are able to. So in some one model you are able to do only one currency conversion there.
In BPC you're talking about? Oh, it's my issue, or my voice is breaking. Rupali, can
Yeah,
you hear?
BPC में you are not able to do multi-currency conversion. So if you define group currency as you,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in the BPC it happens that you cannot do multi-currency conversion. So if you define group currency as USD, so you can see only USD. So that gives you like you have two different verticals of the planning, right? One is US and one is suppose Europe. So you want planning numbers converted in both USD and EUR. So that is something does not happen in the BPC right now.
Yes, yes, but here in SAC, yes, we do have that option. We can maintain that multi currencies in the currency table, and it should be possible. No worries. That is the we can do it in SAC. Yep, we can cover that topic as well in the planning. Yeah. Okay, I think this is for the remaining. Everything is like for the this is option is for to optimize your story. Generally, to be honest, in the real time, it won't make any sense. Even the SAP say that it gonna improve the performance, but I don't see any much thing happening here. But yeah, you can if you want to do or if you want to optimize your model, you can always switch on this thing. But usually it won't happen. To be frank. Okay, and this is like you'll get this options planning, basic data logging and basic validation rules and all those stuff. But yeah, this comes under planning. Okay, the main thing here you need to understand in the planning is first thing is the conversion, because if you want your model to be do the currency conversion, you need to always switch on this currency conversion and set the table. And some this is also very important, the data auditing which we discussed, right? uh, I think yeah, this is cancel it, and then And okay, I don't know why the data is not showing up. Mm, Okay, you can see here on the top is showing as actuals. Uh, this is what since we switch on the planning model, is showing as actuals. But once we, let's say the user has created forecast version or budget version uh, inside inside a story, right? So once they click on save, the first it gonna come back and store into your data model. This is very important. Once we have the different versioning, right, budget, plan, or forecast, whatever it is, the user is going to enter in the SAC story. So some people might think that it gonna go back and sit back to directly to the source system. It could be SAP S4 HANA or BPC, but first it gonna store the data back in data model. And then I showed you that export job, right? That is where comes into picture, right? So if you want to export your data back to SAP source systems, once the user enter all the numbers here, that's where the export job comes into. You can select the table, whatever, wherever you would like to export this data back to source, and then you can export all the versioning, forecast, or plan, or something like that. Okay, it's still loading. I don't know why. Okay, okay, perfect. I think we got the data. Let me save it. Already saved. I think once the data model is ready, that's where you go back to model here once. Yeah, I think everything is ready here. And I think which I'm talking about, right, Saili, like this is what the currency conversion table. If we can create our own currency conversion table, or you can always import the data from BPC. And then if you go back to stories, once we complete the data model and everything, that's where the stories comes into picture. There are different types of stories we have. uh, Responsive, canvas, and grid. So responsive is basically kind of, if you want to build your SAC story which gonna deploy back to SAP mobile, or it gonna fixed based upon screen size, right? Kind of a dynamic. For suppose in this thing, right, uh, if you see here, it is kind of a dynamic, right? It's a screen layout. This is called a responsive design. Automatically it is getting, you can see automatically the structure got changed. So this is kind of a responsive design. If you want to build that thing, you can do it. And canvas is kind of a static. It won't do the responsive kind of a stuff, but you will get this scroll bar. You can move left and right. And grid is like kind of, uh, what do you say, kind of an Excel thing, kind of a where we do usually use it for the planning, or kind of a cross tab, kind of a data table basically. And the smart discovery, this is where comes under comes for augmented analytics. And if you click on smart discovery over here, okay, this is, let me create, you can select your model here, which we created earlier. I think it comes to public. Mm, what's that? Yeah, this is what we created model, right? So once the model has been done and once the scheduled, this is where you need to create a story on top of it. And then, So smart discovery, what it gonna give, right? Based on your data set, if you could select specific dimension or measure, or if you want to add any filters, automatically it gonna create all the insights for you. So this is very helpful, especially when you want to uh, understand your data, or when you want to showcase your data insights to some of your stakeholders. I think this is very important. Instead of recreating from scratch, let's say in my case, target could be maybe let's select sales, and dimension could be country. Okay, and let's add filters because it will take a lot of time. We don't want to just select for few products, because it, if you select everything, it will be a lot of time. Let's select for maybe these two and these three. Okay, and once you click on run, so what will happen in the background, it uses some AI features, and it gonna uh, go back to your data and understand the patterns, what patterns we have based on the selection. In our case, we selected sales and the country dimension for the specific products, right? So it gonna, okay, you can see here, it gonna go back and understand your data and get all the data. Okay, since we selected only few products, the data might be less, but this is what it is, right? It created the story automatically. We don't have to create it from scratch. I think this could be helpful, especially as I mentioned, right? If you want to showcase your data to stakeholders, you can create it like this. Automatically, it create everything story. This could be helpful for your demos and all those stuff. So that is what this augmented analytics can do here. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, let me go back to canvas for now. Okay, this is the classic design experience is going to expire soon. This is optimized design experience. So previously what happened, there is separate there is separate thing for stories, and there is one more thing called analytical application, which requires the JavaScript and all those things, right? But now they have integrated both stories as well as applications, where we can write JavaScript and everything inside story as well. Now previously we need to select analytical application, and that we need to create a separate application for that. But now everything has been embedded into one thing, which they call optimized design experience. Maybe we can go ahead with that thing for now and then create it. Okay, this is how the layout would be. In I talked about this analytical application, right? So that is what this is, advanced mode, where you can write all the Java scripting and everything. And then let's take maybe a table for now. To drag and drop over there and select your model. Public.
It's showing optimized one, right? Or analytica. I just
No,
which one you're showing
this
now?
is optimized one. The classic design experience is going to expire soon, maybe in I think June 2025, I guess. So you won't find that option. We need to use this optimized design experience if we want to build any stories going forward. Yeah. Select your model here. I think once we get the data right, if you can have this panel, there you will get all the options, the formatting thing. If you want to format your charts or any tables or anything, so you can format. You can just click on this panel here, right side, and you can just, yeah, you can see it is showing us actually because we selected the planning, or else it won't show like this. But yeah. Let me so yeah, here this is where you need to select your dimensions and measures. Let me add the dimension here, maybe customer name, question, and then maybe the country. Okay, I need to show one more thing here. It's not shown. There is, we can create the hierarchies as well, I think, which gonna helpful for uh even to uh even for the planning as well, right? If you want to, let's say you have entered the planning numbers at the top level, you would like to segregate or distribute that number to the below levels as well. So we need to create that hierarchy. Let me show, I think I forgot to show you that hierarchy. Let me go back to, let me discard this thing, that's fine. Let me go back to the model. Sorry. Yeah. Mm. So I need to click on the transform data here. Yes, the data is loaded. Okay, just click on transform data. And one more thing, I think here, mm, Okay, maybe we need to go to one more thing. Just give me a
In
second.
creating hierarchy now, like what that are we doing?
Yeah, creating hierarchies. Yeah. Me, could be an option, but it's not. Okay. Let's go back to country.
Country that's right side dimension we have option na to add hierarchy.
No, this is not. I mean, this is what I'm expecting, but it's disabled. That's what I'm checking by
The
default.
plus button is disabled on hierarchy against hierarchy.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Disable. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There should be an option here where there's a blue icon, and here. So if you click on that thing, you should be able to get it out. I'm just thinking why it is not coming. Or else, there is no changes in Okay, maybe let me do one thing. Just to show you the. Okay, if you go with start with empty model, you can see here there should be like this button. You should be get it. If you go back to here, you'll get this icon here, but unfortunately there it's not showing. But okay, mm, maybe I can do one thing. Anyhow, for planning, we will go through this. Start with empty data where we're gonna create our own account type dimensions and organizational dimension and all those stuff. So there I can show you, because here it's not showing, because ideally we'll get this icon edit dimension table, and then we'll maybe let me show you, let me get you one more thing here, maybe the dimension. You can see if you have any existing dimension where we can add it. Okay, click on here. uh, can select, maybe account dimension we can select, so that you'll get to have some hierarchies. Right. Click on add. Okay, the account dimension has been added. You can see here this is what I'm expecting there, but somehow I need to go back and check. So go back to table thing. Oh, here they don't maintain anything hierarchies. But yeah, the hierarchy has already been created here. The parent-child hierarchy. If you go to edit, okay. So we will need to bring in some data which is already there. Let me open existing table. Okay, the product. Oh, entity. Okay, entity. Okay. Yeah, you can see here. This is where. Okay, if you click on this thing, hierarchies. Some they have already created this thing hierarchy, but we can let me check the data. What we have. The data is very less. Okay. Yeah, but we have the and we don't have the data as of now, but maybe I can bring tomorrow or something. But this is the option which I'm expecting, where we can create the hierarchies here. Once you click on hierarchy, they have created this level based hierarchy: level 1, level 2, level 3, which which gonna show in the stories. That's collapsed down, right, hierarchy which you would like to see in the stories. So this is what you need to. There are two hierarchies. One is parent child hierarchy, and another thing is level based hierarchy, where we can create this hierarchies over here. Maybe we can cover it tomorrow on this session, since we don't have much data. I can uh, I have some sample data for the planning as well. Maybe we can use that thing. We do have more data there, where we can create some hierarchies over there here. Yeah, yeah, we can cover that thing. Yeah. uh, yeah, I think we can go back to our stories. Discard canvas design. Okay, let me drag and drop this thing. Select your model. Yeah, yeah, you need to set your all properties. You can select whatever visual you would like to have, right? In this case, maybe let's say as customer name or country, everything. And then you can always add your filters. If you want to have some specific customers or specific country, you need to add the filters here. And yeah, this is planning which I going to explain. There are different types of entry, right? Whenever the user uh, enters the data in the enters the forecast numbers, there are different types, like single data entry mode, Mass data entry mode, fluid data. Mass data entry mode is basically if you're instead of entering manually like copy paste and all those stuff, right? Instead of changing the data immediately, if you click on mass, if you select the option called mass data entry mode, so you can complete all your planning activities, whatever you would like to do, everything. Once you complete everything, you'll get an option called publish all in the top. The kind of a entering instead of changing each and everything each and everything a single time. If you are entering the numbers, forecast numbers here, let's say for changing this number, automatically it gonna save it. Instead of doing all this thing, you can do all your work at a time. If you click on save button, it gonna publish all your changes there. So that is mass data entry mode. And yeah, this comes under planning, maybe we can discuss. But apart from that, there is one more options here, the styling. You can select your table and you can do all your formatting options. This is I think pretty much self-explanatory. You can just go back to your table and just select the colors and all those. So this is styling rules. You can kind of uh, what kind of color you would like to have for the different members of these things. Okay, let me go back here. Apart from styling, I think there is few more concepts which you need to understand before going into the planning. It's like what are link dimensions, what is linked analysis and all those stuff. Maybe we can cover tomorrow on those sessions. And then once we complete all these things, I think we can go ahead and start. Hopefully we can get the access. I will talk to Ruchi as well today. If you can write
Yeah,
an email, or not an email, maybe you can add her in the chat, so that
yeah, I'll add her.
yeah, yeah, so that everyone can see what she's saying, and I can give her a call as well. Hopefully if we can get the
Mhm.
server tomorrow, we can kick start the planning. But before
Yeah, because
mhm, go ahead.
why that server access? Because she said that she requires 1 or 2 days time with the vendor. That is what she had asked in that call. But then we will get the full-fledged access. So meanwhile, we can use your what you have access with credit card. But then when we start practicing, we better use that server itself.
Exactly. Tomorrow, I think once I cover remaining planning concepts, is hierarchies and some linked analysis and all those stuff. After that, I will show
Mhm.
you how to get the access, full access based on credit card. And then,
Okay.
yeah, I think we can use that thing for time being. And then
Mhm.
we can also discuss with Ruchi today if we can get the access. At least
Yeah.
for the next week, we can. It would be great if we can get the
Yeah, by
access.
next week we
Yeah,
will
yeah,
have that access then,
yep.
yes. Another thing, now we covered the stories. So dashboards is also a part of stories itself, or it is a separate thing.
No, stories and dashboards are the same. There are two things. One is
Okay.
stories and analytical applications, which I'm talking about. For analytical applications, you need some coding and everything. Let me show you. Okay, let me. If you see
Yeah.
here, there is an option called Edit Scripts. So basically, if we
Mhm.
click on this button, what action it should do, something like that, right? So if you
Mhm.
click on click here, um, yeah, you can see this scripting
Uh,
thing open where you can write your
mm,
JavaScript here. Let me do, if you can see here, there are a lot of scripting methods available here. You just need to, so this is more kind of advanced. Maybe for now, I would not recommend. Maybe once you feel like SAC stories and planning, you're equipped with those things, maybe then you can start. This
mhm.
is kind of a complex part. If you want to do some advanced interactive charts, this is where comes into picture. So there are two things. One is stories and applications. Stories itself we used to call a dashboard. It's a different terminology. Yeah.
Because I'm used to with Power BI dashboards, right? So what this Excel file, what we imported, we are able to create multiple charts and visuals, then put it like
Yeah, in Power BI, yes.
dashboard
Power
so that.
BI, there are two things. One is reports and one is dashboards. Reports are different.
Mhm.
In dashboards is basically it's combination of multiple. If you can get one chart from one report, another chart from different report, and you can keep it.
Correct,
Yeah,
because that is what right now I'm doing, BPC data getting into Power BI and generating dashboards. So if I we have to build in the SSE, for example, there also we had the similar dimension file if we do from plain Excel. So we have to plot in here. Will system automatically generate those dashboard? How does it happen?
so, okay, can you just tell me a requirement? What exactly you need so that I can just.
So what that Excel file you were showing, right? So
Mhm.
if we have to create with the same file what we imported, if we want to plot in the dashboard, like what is total order summary, what is sale, what is average sale, that I want to see in the dashboard view.
Okay. So you can
So
do everything in
here where
story,
we will
right? So
see
we
this.
have the different pages here. You can create multiple pages and you can create everything and those things, right?
But where how to add the visuals over there?
The same thing, right? If you let's say create
What
canvas.
was shown, no, Sally, he showed for this one country sales, no? Similarly, we will have to add
No, no.
more
Can you go
dimensions,
to this
right?
chart mode, not the table, chart one. Widgets, the chart one.
Yeah, maybe say here similarly you can add. Let's say let's bring chart here.
Hmm.
What we do in Power BI, right? So similarly, you can add beside the table. You can always make this dashboard or report look and feel by doing some changes. But yeah, you can add the beside the table. I just added the chart, and here if you come
Hmm.
down the same way, what you do in Power BI in the right hand side, you can add all dimensions
Correct.
something, right? You can add. Let's say
Right.
I would like to do get my sales by category now. Okay, now category I will not see the data, but yeah, let's select country, and then if you
Hmm.
go back to here, you can select your measure sales.
Hmm.
Yeah, it should be get it loading others. So okay, oh this is okay. This is bar chart. Okay, now which requires more measure, but let me select a different kind of a chart.
So this is the reason.
Maybe let's
Yeah. Maybe we could form a pie chart with two dimensions.
yeah maybe we can do that. Yeah, something like this, right? You can select your maybe not pie chart. Let's change the chart to maybe select like
Bar chart.
that and then select the date in this case. We do have the date here.
Yeah. And the chart add-ons, we will get the formatting option. Okay.
Yeah, here you'll get it all the formatting
Okay.
options. Yeah,
Acha.
same way what
Okay.
we do in Power BI, right? Similarly, you can do the same way. I think there is
But this
no.
has got little extra options. Yeah.
Yeah, compared to Power BI, yes. And there is one more option. If you want to build
Hmm.
your stories in more what do you say kind of uh, attractive, there is one more option in, but that is not comes into story, that is comes under analytical application. You can upload your CSS file. In CSS file you can
Acha.
create
But
your.
these analytical applications, you are saying it is going to be embedded in the
Yes, you can.
2024 onward versions, right?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see here right now. You can. This is a
Hmm.
story, but inside a story you can
Hmm.
see all these are the analytical application. You can
Okay.
create your own pop-up box. Let's say if you're clicking on button, that it should show some
Hmm.
pop-up box. The user can enter all the details and click
Okay.
on OK button, something like that. So that can't be possible in the stories. We just need to comes into analytical application. I mean, right now it is
Okay.
embedded here, but yeah, you need to click on outline and you need to select your
Hmm.
pop-up box here, what kind of pop-up you would
Hmm.
like to see. You can see the CSS class name, right? You can have your own
Hmm.
CSS JSON file and you can upload it here. Yeah, you can make a lot of things using analytical application, but yeah, for the stories, for now maybe we can go to the stories. And then whatever I do have experience in Power BI, so I know what exactly it works.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you do in Power BI, everything is possible here. Yeah. And
Okay.
the good part is like in Power BI you can't do the planning.
Hmm.
That's what SAC comes into picture, especially if your
Correct.
if
Yeah.
client is having SAP landscape. Yeah, Power BI is good for reporting, but SAC comes up with planning. That's additional capability we have. But yeah, whatever Power BI is doing, everything you can do it here, no worries.
So can we do one thing after we create our planning model? Can we again come back to the stories once so that we build on our planning model the stories? Would that would be okay with you, right? So on our data, if we are
Yeah, if
able
you
to
have a
build one
sam
of these, even if
yeah,
one
if you have
dashboard,
a
yeah.
sample data,
Mm,
I think if you could share
mm,
me before the class, maybe I need to explore
mm,
what the data is having. I think the
mm-hmm.
next day we can cover that. That's fine. No worries.
Correct. So because why I'm asking is that there first we have plain data, then we have performed certain planning calculation. So data changes. So our final output, like for example, what we do, allocation of the product cost
Correct,
and
correct.
those, and then output. So that
Maybe
will be
what we
clear.
can do, maybe
Mm,
tomorrow or next week, whatever it is, since you have
mm,
experience, I don't have experience in BPC, but I have fair amount of idea. Maybe if you could walk
mm-hmm.
through before starting planning, right? What kind of activities you have done in BPC? As I think BPC we have this
Sure, will
Fox
do.
formulas and all those stuff, right? If you had done those things, if you could walk me through so
Mm.
that we can replicate the same functionalities here, because whatever you can do in
Okay,
BPC,
will do.
it's
Yeah.
easily doable in SAC.
That is what I heard, that all those features are covered but little bit renamed or somewhere you have
Correct, correct.
to
Yeah,
search
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a more advanced stuff, to be honest. There are a lot of things we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you could walk me through, maybe tomorrow if you have some time, I
Sure, will
can
do.
write a
Mm-hmm.
notes of it. Maybe we can cover all those things,
Mm-hmm.
so that would be helpful for you for the future.
Sure, will do. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. I think maybe for now we can end this session, and then I will talk to Ruchika. And meanwhile, tomorrow I will show
Yeah,
you. Yeah, go ahead.
sure. Tomorrow we will cover this one. Then for before we start planning, yes, I am dropping the chat to Ruchika right away on the group so that we get that service access
Sure,
properly.
sure, sure. Yeah, tomorrow we can cover
Yeah.
those credit card thing. We
Mm-hmm.
can do that thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so
sure.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye bye.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Bye.
Bye bye. Yeah.
Bye. Yeah.